Hey, what's up everyone? My most anticipated movie of the year, The Batman, has finally released in theaters, so let's review it. And real quick before we jump into the video, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the video, as well as leave a comment, tell me your thoughts on The Batman down below. So as I said in the intro, this was my most anticipated movie of the year. It was easily number one. I knew it was going to be number one for a while heading into this year because I was just so much looking forward to this movie, and I love Batman as a character. He's my favorite superhero personally, and I really, since I watched the Dark Knight movies for the first time when I was younger, I've really been in love with Batman as a character, and really the Dark Knight films, the Dark Knight trilogy, really have a lot to do with me really falling in love with movies and getting more and more into them, especially the Dark Knight in particular. So I was really excited to see a new Batman film, and this is technically the first Batman movie I have seen in theaters. I saw Batman v Superman versus in theaters, but it's not really a Batman movie. It's kind of a Batman movie, but this is really the first full-blown Batman film I get to see in theaters, so I was really looking forward to that. And having now seen it, I can just say that this movie was literally everything I wanted it to be. I couldn't have asked for more from Matt Reeves and from DC. In terms of giving us a Batman film, because this just delivered on all the hype. Everything I wanted in this film was in here. And it was just an incredible experience, an awesome theater experience. Definitely the kind of movie you would want to watch in theaters, because there's lots of amazing sound editing, sound work, visuals, all that kind of stuff that really make a theater experience worth it. And the first major positive I have for this film is Matt Reeves directing. I was really excited when they announced he would be directing this film because he does have a lot of pretty good movies under his belt. And I hear he just creates this like darker and gritty Gotham City, and he just works so well with like the shots of Gotham City and really just making it really feel like Gotham, and emphasizing certain aspects of the city. And it's easily the best Gotham City since the original Tim Burton Batmans, in terms of building this city and making you feel like you're a part of it, and like Batman is a part of the city and stuff like that. I think it really worked in this film, and it's really nice to see really a developed Gotham City already in the first movie. And obviously, of course, we're going to be getting more and more films as time goes on, as that always has been one of the bigger issues with the Christopher Nolan Batman films, is Gotham City wasn't the strongest in those films, because they didn't develop it a ton. It just kind of felt like generic city that Batman was in. Another huge aspect that really worked in this film was Robert Pattinson as Batman. I had no doubt heading into this movie that he was going to do good, because his recent movies have been phenomenal and his acting has been phenomenal in recent years, and this is exactly the case. He really embodies Batman here. We don't get a ton of Bruce Wayne in this film. Mainly Pattinson is playing Batman in this film, but he does a really good job. He's very believable as a character. He really has like an intense persona about him that really makes you kind of fear Batman in a way, as you should, as he's not, he kind of like your friendly superhero. He's more someone you would fear if you were a criminal, that kind of thing, and he really pulls that off here, and that really worked. And all the other characters in this movie were really great. Lots of great casting choices. Colin Farrell was a standout as the Penguin, as he looks nothing like Colin Farrell in real life. He really embodied the Penguin here. I thought he did a really good job. Catwoman is in this film, easily one of the best Catwomans we've had, even though we haven't had too many. The Riddler, easily the best Riddler we've had on screen. I thought he was really good as a really good complementary villain to really service the plot and really develop the stakes throughout the film. I thought he did a great job, and there was some great acting scenes from Paul Dano as the Riddler. And there's just pretty much, there wasn't a single casting choice in this film I don't like. Andy Serkis as Alfred was really good. He was probably the most underutilized character. He doesn't get a ton of screen time in this movie, but if I had to say someone could have used more screen time, it would have been Alfred, though it is a 3-hour movie, so you don't want to add too much to it. Another great aspect of this film is going to be the score, and specifically the Batman theme that they created for this film. It just really elevates the movie so much and helps with creating Gotham City, just creating this tone for the film, this kind of darker, slower paced tone. I think that really worked here, and it just, hearing it in the theater with really loud speakers, it was just so awesome. Especially some of the scenes, like the first 15 minutes of this movie were some of the best Batman scenes we've ever had in a film. That has a lot to do with the score and how it just elevated certain particular scenes throughout the film. And there's another chase scene which really is scored very well. So the score was a huge standout for me. And then another standout was just going to be Batman in this film. We get a lot of Batman, as I mentioned. For the most part, Bruce Wayne is Batman in this movie. I think he really works. The suit looked really cool. Batman was very intense. There's a lot of great scenes. You really felt his presence. They really announced his presence in the film. And he just was, I really felt like Batman, like definitely more comic-y than what we are used to from Batman. He really felt like a comic book, particularly the action scenes kind of flowed like a comic book and how they would play out. But it all really worked, and I thought Batman was incredible. Easily one of the better Batmans we have had, though there's a lot of competition there. I think he immediately, Robert Pattinson as Batman immediately pushes himself into the best conversation, because I think this was probably arguably the best film that utilizes Batman the best in this film, with how much he's in it and how much he's involved with the story. And then along with that, this is a very noir detective type story, kind of like David Fincher type-esque movies, they kind of look like through the trailer, and they are pretty much, and it is pretty much that. And it worked really well. I'm not the biggest fan of like mystery type stories, but it was pretty easy. It was easy enough to follow, and I did enjoy the plot, and it definitely served the movie very well throughout the film. It really created a very interesting story involving the Riddler, all building towards the end, which was really intense and really a good finale for the film that fitted in very nicely with what was going on. There's also a number of subplots in here, a subplot with like Catwoman in the film, that they work in really nicely and intertwining it with the main story throughout. So they did a good job with there. The film is very like structured very nicely. And along with that, for a 3-hour film, this movie goes by pretty quickly. I was very excited when I heard that it was going to be 3 hours, because I really like long movies and I like seeing how they fill that runtime. And this movie did a very good job with that. It feels very balanced. You get a good amount of story mixed with action, and it doesn't really feel like it wastes a ton of time in this film. It really moves pretty quickly. You know, it's definitely a little slower pace than some people might like, but for the most part, it feels like something's always happening and the story is consistently moving forward. So that worked for me. The 3-hour runtime didn't hurt it at all for me. I thought it fit nicely, it felt warranted, and it definitely worked for me. And as I've said throughout this review, I just loved the Batman. This movie was my number one most anticipated, and it probably will be my number one favorite movie of the year. It's hard to envision something topping this, because I just enjoyed this movie so much. I highly recommend you go see it in theaters, especially if you're a fan of the Batman. It's just such a great film in my opinion. And it works on so many levels, and it delivered on everything I wanted in creating a new Batman story in this new Gotham City, with Robert Pattinson as Batman. Everything just worked for me. So I'm going to give the Batman a 5 out of 5 and a 95%. Easily a 5-star, one of the few 5 stars I've given on my channel. So I'm very excited to do that for such a great movie. And anyways, that's going to do it for my review for the Batman. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you stuck around to the end, you can follow me on Letterboxd and Twitter. The links will be in the description. If you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, tell me what you thought of the Batman. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.